Hello and welcome back to Football Index Moneyball. Today I'm going to be going over the January review. If you're new to the channel, the purpose of these videos is to just take a look back at the pick of the day players and gauge how well the recommendations have gone so far. And following this, I'll do a quick review of my portfolio and see how the last month's gone for me. And if you manage to make it to the end of the video, I'll be doing another Best Buy Now segment where I select a past pick of the day player whose current price I feel is offering the best value out of the players available and whose video I think would be worth revisiting. Before we get going, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, then you can search for @IndexMoneyball. And if you have any questions or you'd like a copy of the spreadsheet for the portfolio review, then you can let me know in the comments below. Now moving on to the review, December was a bit of a slack month in my part, as I only managed to get out 3 new pick of the day players. So apologies to that if you've been enjoying the series and you were waiting for the next one. There'll be a new one coming out on Monday or Tuesday, on January 6th or 7th, so make sure you check that out. And I'll be trying to make one at least once a week from now on. So although it's been a quiet month for me for the videos, in general it's been an absolutely amazing month on the index. I've been looking forward to doing this review to see what effect it's had on the pick of the day player averages, and when I updated the list this morning it certainly didn't disappoint. Taking a look at the headline numbers at the bottom here, we can see that we now have an average duration of 87 days. So for me, this is a bit of a milestone. I've been waiting for the 3-month mark, as I think this is a good gauge as to how the picks have been going. So to see the average profit up to 44.9% at this stage is well beyond what I would have expected starting out on these videos. A lot of this will be down to the boom on the index overall coming up to the new year. So I think this rate will slow as we continue with the series, but with my target being an average of 100% profit over 12 months each pick, to almost reach the halfway point after 3 months is a really good start. It's worth mentioning here that if you've watched the videos, you'll know that I don't account for market growth in my estimated profits usually. So when you do get that overall growth, then you can doubly benefit in some situations. An example of this would be my new top returner, Munir El Hadidi. After a really good start to the season in the Europa League where he won 2 triple match day forwards and 1 star man, he's now broken into the first team in the league. But here I've brought up last month's tracker on the left. You can see that his price has jumped from £1.5 to £1.42. Now he did score a couple of goals in the league over this time, but the majority of the rise is probably down to the new money flowing into the index rather than any improvement in performance or in circumstance changes. So since we have last month's table up here, let's take a look at some of the other changes that we've seen. So last month we had 4 players in the red, with my biggest loser sitting at 20%. After all the action in December, we've managed to reduce that to 3 players in the red, and the biggest loss is currently sitting at 11%. This is actually one of the most important metrics I use for judging my performance, as I put a lot of focus on low risk picks. So I think at this stage it's looking like the strategy is working pretty well. The current low is Marius Wolf, who has seen a change in manager at Hertha Berlin, which resulted in him dropping to the bench. And he's also in the middle of the winter break, with German League being the last to return. So on paper it's about as bad as it could have gone so far for the pick, apart from if he'd have got a season-ending injury. So I'm actually pretty pleased to be only 11% down at this stage on Wolf, and he's currently one of the players that I'm looking at for a possible top-up. I still have a lot of confidence in the pick in the long term, and the fact that he's only on loan at Hertha, it's likely that he'll get a transfer somewhere else in the summer if he doesn't manage to break into the team before then. At the top end, we had 3 players in the 100 club last month and 2 players pushing for a place with over 80% profit. This month we still have 3 players over 100% and 2 over 80, but the players have changed, with El Hadidi and Willian taking the places of Rudy and Niangalon. I think this is mainly down to the winter break chipping a bit of the prices off Rudy and Raja, so I would think by next month, barring any injuries, that these two will be back over 100%. And despite the high prices of Raja compared to the video, he's another one that I'm currently looking at for a top up, as his PB potential has been excellent, and with his price under £1, IPDs can be an attractive option. The other change of note is the top returner is now Hadidi, with a total increase of 143% up from Smalling, who had 125% last month. And considering he's also the top dividend returner, I think this is justified and should be sustainable if he can keep his place in the starting lineup for La Liga. And if he manages to get another PB win, or if he gets a Spain call-up, then I'd be hoping to hit the 200% mark on this player. So with a small improvement in both the top and bottom earners, the bulk of the increased profits have come from the middle of the pack players. December's seen a resurgence in the youth market, and that's been a big benefit for my early season picks. Hamed Junior Traore and Alphonso Davies have both been big risers this month after a good run in the starting lineup of their respective teams. Traore is one that I'm particularly pleased about, after he went from being the biggest loser last month at -20% to now being up 45%. This has given me confidence to be patient with some of my other picks that have not started out so well, and it bodes well for the potential for peak price recoveries on youth players, after a spell out of the team. So this is something that I'm going to be looking at moving forward. Another player I want to look at who's had a pretty solid increase is last month's best buy now, which is Carlos Alenia. Alenia's managed to secure a move on loan to Real Betis from Barcelona, and this has seen his price rise from 98p to £1.21 on the back of it. This is a 23.4% rise, which isn't the biggest on the list, but I think without knowing that December was going to be such a big month for youth players, and considering that he hasn't played all that much to earn the rise, I'm really happy with the selection as the first best buy now. And I think we could see some more gains in January if he can help Betis improve their form and if he starts playing straight away. So now moving on to my annualised profit spreadsheet for my own portfolio. As I predicted in the last video, the total dividends for the month were a lot lower, down from 595 last month to 228. But the capital appreciation, which in fairness is my main focus for trading, is more than made up for that. The total profit for the month was just over 5,000, making December my biggest month for total profit on the index so far, beating out the 4,642 from September. As a percentage return on total portfolio value though, December falls just short of September's 13.1% with 11.7% this month. For any new traders watching, this should be very encouraging for you, as it's much easier to make a profit with a smaller portfolio due to the ease of buying and selling players without affecting price. For deposits this month, I managed to get another £800 in for the 5% net buy bonus. And for the monthly review, I've changed the layout a little bit at the bottom here where I record my deposit figures. So June was the first month that I have a record of my portfolio value. So I've input this as a deposit in May to try and improve the accuracy of my annualised ROI. I still don't think it's a perfect system, but it should be better than before, and based on the changes and the increase in profit, my annualised ROI since June is now up to 116%, which is good seeing as it's been below 100 for the last couple of months. For my total profit, I've seen an increase of almost 30% this month, bringing it up to 22,167. I'm hoping that January is going to be another big month for me, as I've got quite a few pick of the day players who I'm hoping will get transfers, which could lead to increased dividend chances and price increases. And if this happens, I have my eyes on the total invested figure of 25,970, as I'm coming close to hitting the 100% total profit figure now, and it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to deposit much more in January. So that's all I have to cover on the review today. It's been a great month on the index after a relatively quiet period in October and November. Based on my experiences last year, I'm hoping that the index should keep on rising steadily now through to the start of next season, as there'll be a lot of anticipation of the latter stages of the European competitions, the European Championships, and then the transfer window to fuel it. Now, if you made it this far, then thanks very much for sticking with me, and as promised, I've got a best buy now player for you. Today I've gone for Thomas Muller at Bayern Munich. He's currently down 2p from the price in the video, which is always good if you're thinking of topping up on a player. Now the reason I've gone for Muller is mainly down to his performances since the recommendation. After being frozen out in the early season, he's been a pretty consistent starter across all competitions since, especially under the new caretaker manager Hans Flick. I've listed out some of his stats for the season so far, and I think you'll agree that for a 70p player they're pretty incredible. With his current form, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a recall to the German team, which I think could be a great thing for his price. I've also updated the price target players above on the bottom line, but without allowing for any dividends. For me, the potential for dividends are pretty high here for both IPD and PB, so just take that into consideration. There's also 3 IPD eligible fixtures if you were to buy him today, but on the 18th of January that number's going to increase to 6. My preference is to get in early on this kind of situation and hope for a price rise as the eligible fixtures come closer. This one seems to be pretty low risk due to the low price and the fact that we're in the middle of the German winter break, and Muller definitely has the potential to win some PB, which would lead to a good amount of capital appreciation in my opinion. So if this is the kind of trade that you're looking for, then go check out the video from back in October and let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment and subscribe. Also, if you know someone else who might like the video, then sharing with them would really help me out. There are links in the description for signing up to Football Index and Football Index Edge if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel for more strategy videos and the other picks of the day. Most picks are long-term holds with depressed prices for some reason or other, so often the picks can still offer the same value, if not better, a few weeks after. And the research methods and reasoning can help if you're new to the index and want to learn to analyse your own players. Thanks for watching, good luck on the index.